Hey guys, welcome back to the Engine25 Reviews YouTube channel. This is the first episode in a new format that I'm testing out. Got some new gear, so it's going to be fun. Today we're talking about M. Night Shyamalan's Old, but before we get there, just remember, if you like what you see, always hit that subscribe button, and that way you always know when I put up another video. So I appreciate the like, appreciate the sub, and let's get to it. Thanks, guys. This is my friend Kendra. She's a professional actress and a massage therapist, if I'm not mistaken. How you doing today, Kendra?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Looking forward to it. I definitely have some thoughts. It was a good time. Before we get to talking about Old specifically, what was your experience in the past with M. Night Shyamalan movies?
Okay, so I've seen The Happening.
Okay.
I've seen
that one's
Devil.
The Devil. Okay.
Yeah, I've seen The Visit. Have you seen The Visit?
I have. Sometimes wish I hadn't.
Yeah. And then I feel like I've seen more than that, but I'm drawing a blank.
Sixth Sense, Signs.
Oh yeah. I have not seen Signs.
Lady in the Water, the live action Last Airbender movie, which I like to pretend doesn't exist.
Yeah, me too.
Unbreakable, and then Split and Glass are like Split vaguely related. Glass is kind of a sequel to both of them. If you've seen any of those.
I have seen Split, and I have seen The Sixth Sense out of that list as well. So,
the Sixth Sense is amazing. A lot of people have talked about that. Recently, I really liked Split. I thought Glass was okay, except the ending was awful. Otherwise, I was cautiously optimistic going into this. I like both of those movies, and then if you've seen on Apple TV Plus, he has a show called Servant that he produces.
oh no!
And it's like, it describes it as like an urban nightmare. It's a family had a baby, but the baby passed, so their therapist suggests they get a oh God, what do they call it? They essentially get a very realistic doll that's supposed to be a temporary thing, but it kind of, in theory helps them move on from the baby situation. The mother refuses to move on from that, and then they get a new nanny, basically, because they both have to go back to work, and then suddenly there's a live baby in their house, who the mother just acts like is totally normal and that nothing bad ever happened, and then the dad is kind of concerned as to where the fuck this baby come from.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
That sounds like Black Mirror.
Yeah, kinda. It's kind of like it could be a Black Mirror episode, but no, it's really good. You should check it out.
Yeah, I will.
It's on Apple TV Plus.
Okay.
I see a cat there. That's funny. What's up? Yeah, he just walked into the kitchen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, I saw Old is the first movie I have been back to the theater for since March 2020. The last one I saw was Onward, which I actually saw with your boyfriend at the time. We're big.
Nice.
Yeah. We're big old Pixar nerds. So we went to see Onward together, and then the week after that, the world ended.
Yeah.
But what did you? Let's start with general kind of thoughts. What did you think of Old, like, overall?
Okay, overall, I think it was some of the most fun I've had watching a movie in a while. Like, I just kind of found myself, like, laughing and smiling, but also, like, at moments invested.
Right, absolutely.
And I was completely immersed. Like, I was like, I'm not going to go pee during this movie. Like, I was fully in.
That's fair.
I just thought it was a really good time. Like, if I were to sum it up to somebody, I would say, like, it's worth going to see just because it's so much fun to watch.
And I'll give you that. I am not upset that I went to see it. Like, I enjoyed myself at the theater. I wish I wish I could say it was because I thought the movie was really good. There are definitely some things I like about it for sure. Like there some technical achievement in this movie that I thought was really effective, and we can go into that in more detail. But there's also like the dialogue is just god awful. Like it's just
rough.
Every third line somebody tells you what their profession is. Like the nurse guy must have said I'm a nurse at least 7 times. And he's not even that significant. He's not in that much of the movie, but
no.
Yeah,
there were some rough dialogue moments,
and it's all like just very clunky exposition. That's the worst part of it. It's just like, and they figure things out really fast, which surprised me. Not a common thing with the M. Night Shyamalan movies. You know, they everything just is kind of confused, and then it all comes together right at the end in most of them. But they also, because they figured it out, they feel the need to just describe it to you as the viewer just way too much, just constantly.
Yeah, I know. I was surprised at how much they understood about what was happening too.
Yeah, and
like,
they based very quickly. They figured out that like 1 hour is 2 years, like based on how fast a body decayed. You know, there's just
Also, of course they weren't consistent with this, right? But let's talk about how mid-sized sedan, right?
But before you continue, mid-size, that is a fantastic rapper name, mid-sized sedan.
He was probably my favorite character.
That's fair. I'm sorry, go ahead.
But like the time didn't make sense because I feel like when they showed that weird scene with mid-sized sedan and like the blonde naked lady walking into the water.
Yeah, he had been there all night.
Yeah, that was like at night, or it was about to be nighttime. And then like the families all come the next day, and mid-sized sedan is still 30, sitting in the same place that he was sitting before. So I was like, what?
Another moment, they very clearly point out when they find the dead woman, and then like 2 hours later or whatever, she's completely decomposed. It's like, okay, how long does this take? It is 7 to 10 years for a body to decompose. Great, that's a fact I now have in my brain for some reason. But okay, so then they make another point to say after they realize they're aging that their hair and their fingernails, they're not growing, they're not changing color. Maybe it's because the cells are dead.
Yeah,
except that's just really after just saying that a dead person still, like, time still passes for the dead person, but time doesn't pass for it doesn't make sense.
And mid-sized sedan should have been 80 by the time they met him.
Yes,
should have been 80, but he was not.
He was just 30. So. Weird times. Yeah. I know you mentioned to me you want to talk about the makeup in the movie, which like us generally I would say was very good. That was a like I said, most of the things I like about this movie are technical as opposed to execution. But they're good. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. So I actually think it was one of the best parts of the movie was the makeup artistry. I mean, it maybe wasn't like always consistent with the aging, but I mean, that's true to real life. Some people age faster than others, whatever. But like when they started to get into it and it started to get more in the movie and like you could see the wrinkles like in their
like
faces.
Crow's feet.
It was insane.
Which
I don't know how they did that. Like, and it was so close to their face. Like, I was like, oh, maybe it's just like they do in theater, like eyeliner.
Yeah.
For the wrinkles. I was like, that must have taken like so much time for the makeup artist because they had to go in and gradually add another wrinkle, whatever, to several of the characters. And
it has to be very thoroughly if you have a character that ages over the course of a movie, you have to know at what point. You have to be very clear about what point during the movie that a certain scene takes place, and then therefore how extensive the aging process should have advanced by then. And all like, I agree. Most of that stuff was really well handled. And it's subtle. Like it's more subtle on some characters than others. Like I didn't think Is it Abbey Lee? I should have looked some of this up before we started. I was having a technical kerfluffle and forgot to open the Wikipedia. But like Gael Garcia Bernal and the mother character, they both, I would say slowly if we're supposedly witnessing 30 years pass, but you can definitely tell. But then like the I want to say Abbey Lee's character, like she almost looks she gets a hunchback, but she almost looks the same at the end of the movie, which doesn't make sense.
Oh yeah, the blonde one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Except for all the broken.
Yeah. So there's a thing that I want, that I do think kind of like, it surprised me, like how disturbing it was. Like she comes around the rock at the end of the movie. Spoiler alert! I don't have a spoiler graphic. We'll go with that. Good thing for next week. But yeah, she comes around the rock and she's got a hunchback because the character has a calcium deficiency, which just spirals out of control because she's it's aging so rapidly. And then there's the moment where she breaks her arm against the rock, and then. Okay, it heals almost immediately because of the way time passes, but then Thomasin Mckenzie has to tell us it already healed wrong. Like you don't have to say all of these things.
Yeah. Well, they had to help us out, let us know what was going on in the movie.
But no, yeah, her death was like horrifying, like just really interesting and disturbing body horror, which was fantastic.
It was so amazing. It was amazing. I like at first was disturbed, and then I like started laughing. I laughed so hard at that part. I like almost had tears in my eyes. I was like, this is
because it's crazy.
This is
yeah,
one of the best like death scenes I've seen in a while in a horror film. Like it was so awesome. I really liked that part.
Yeah, it's I was right. It's Abbey Lee is the plays the blonde. She was in Mad Max Fury Road, and she was in had a pretty significant role in Lovecraft Country from last year. By the way, if you haven't seen that, you should check it out. It's on HBO Max.
Oh yeah, you're like the third person who's told me to see that. So
it's so good.
I need to check that out.
Yeah, especially if you like horror stuff. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, sorry. Older Maddox, like at the end Maddox.
Mm-hmm.
She's Miss Honey in Matilda.
Really?
Yeah.
Embeth Davidtz. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I know her face. I was freaking out. I was like, I know her. And I looked it up at the end, and I was like, oh my God, it's Miss Honey. So that was cool.
And then let's moving on to a scene that I didn't think worked, like I cut you with a rusty knife, and he just like immediately has the worst infection imaginable. Just didn't.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous in a way that just was nonsense, as opposed to ridiculous in a way that was nuts and really satisfying, like we saw moments before.
There was a lot of like bad foreshadowing in this movie, where like the main mom with the short hair was like, oh, you're not old enough to the kid, or like, oh, don't touch that rusty fork, it can be poisonous. And you're like, okay, so that works.
And those are later. Those are called plants, right? You put something in the viewer's mind, so then later when something else happens, they're like, oh yeah. And this there are dozens in this movie that are just all the ways not to do plants.
That was pretty bad.
Yeah. And I just a week or two ago, I just rewatched Die Hard because it's amazing. And there are at least as many, if not more, plants in that, but they're all really effective. So it's hey, by the way, this is a thing that you should have in your head for later.
Well, I feel like I could be wrong, but I feel like if you do that effectively, it's like unnoticed.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, well,
right?
I pay attention for these things, so that's most people shouldn't notice. I would probably enjoy movies more if I wasn't looking so closely, like.
Right.
So, but that's a good point too. That's we're not always the average viewer. Even I wouldn't consider myself an expert, but I do pay pretty like closer attention, especially to the technology parts of filmmaking. So, how'd you like how it wrapped up? There's a a weird organization that is using this time warp mineral to test medication or something. That
I thought that was a cool twist, actually. The when they were showing you like the science lab and stuff.
Right.
I was like, I actually didn't think they would go with this. I thought they were just gonna be like, oh, like it's just a weird island that does this, and these people are weird and want to watch people die. I probably should have thought something like that was coming. Like there was a reason for all of it, but I actually thought that part was pretty cool. The lab part.
I kind of was thinking it had something to do with like medical needs or whatever, because like all of the major characters had some kind of medical problem. Like some of them were terminal and some of them were no big deal, but you know, it's they all had some kind of medical thing, or they were married to somebody who had some kind of medical thing. And it, you know, the fact that they again beat you over the head with this information so much.
I should have noticed it. I was an idiot for this, because I was like, when Mid-Sized Sedan was like, oh, I have MS, and the girl I came with has MS, and we were here to talk about how we have MS, and I was like, oh, okay, that's a weird line.
Yeah. And the psychologist woman has, she has seizures, and then the mother mentions early in the movie that she has a tumor, and then they bring back up again that she has a tumor, and then the blonde woman has calcium deficiency, and then by the way, I have calcium deficiency, and then don't forget I'm calcium deficient. It's just. Was there
anything wrong with the kids, or no? They were just.
They were there, I don't think so. They were just there with the adults that that had issues.
Yeah.
And then the older doctor man obviously had developing mental illness. He really wanted to know what movie that was with Marlon Brando in it.
I know. That was funny. I liked that part. Yeah. And then, so I thought it was interesting that they didn't show the kids for a while, like as they were aging and the parents were kind of like separated from them,
right,
and didn't know yet. They wouldn't show their face.
Some of that I think is probably out of necessity, but
it was like this part was weird to me. The way that they showed that Maddox was a teenager now was that they did a huge zoom in on her ass. Like, it was like, look, this isn't a little girl's ass. This is a teenager girl's ass. And then once they showed her face, the mom was like, you should change into a new bathing suit, because I guess like they were alluding to the fact that
she's bursting out of it. Yeah.
But it was a different bathing suit than she showed up in. I noticed that. So she had already changed into a different bathing suit, and the bathing suit that her mom had her change into was more revealing than the bathing suit she was in originally. Like, it was also smaller. And I was like, what on earth?
Listen, I'm going to complete one of these sentences. No, you're absolutely right, and it's weird, and it's like this when dudes direct movies, it's.
I was like, I knew as soon as they did the ass zoom in, I was like, are you kidding me?
I have talked about it on another episode. The one we do with the Snyder Cut. I had a film scholar friend from college, and we spent several minutes talking about how in the Wonder Woman movie, all the Amazons are wearing full coverage, like plate armor. And then in the Justice League movie, they are all wearing bikinis and miniskirts.
Yeah.
And it's, the other thing, the first way is just as sexy and just as powerful, but it's also practical, as opposed to wearing, armor that covers, you know what it covers. And then it's nonsense. And it's and you're absolutely right. Put on this bathing suit for a grown-up person, which is even more revealing than the one you were wearing before, because that's not weird.
Yeah, she had like a halter top, she was covered up, and then she put on like the tiniest bikini, which like is fine, but I was just like, what?
It's the reason for doing that just didn't make sense with what we got.
Yeah. I mean, I guess he was trying to go for the, like, look, womanly figure. She is a woman, no longer a child thing. But, yeah, it was an interesting choice.
Easy. I mean, there are other ways to show that without
For sure.
without showing so much skin.
I agree.
Speaking of the children, there's definitely some interesting developments there.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay, the two youngest children become teenagers, and they get all angsty, and they get horny, and they go in a tent, and they do stuff, because that's what teenagers do. And so the youngest girl walks out of the tent and is 6 months pregnant.
Yep. Yeah, that was something else. I think, like, the theater that I was in, everyone, like, gasped. There was, like, an audible gasp, which was awesome.
And I don't necessarily have a problem with this idea. Like, that's a scary, weird thing, and that's what this movie is trying to be, is scary and weird. So I guess it's a little weird that the two 6-year-olds are doing it, even if they're biologically suddenly teenagers. But that, like, the whole baby bit was completely pointless because the baby dies immediately for using justification that makes absolutely no sense.
I know, and then they did the thing where they were like, oh, we understand completely what is going on. They were like, the baby can't survive in this kind of environment. And it's like,
well, the baby can't survive without attention.
Yeah.
The baby has been held the entire time since it was born minutes ago. Like,
I know. I was like, there's like 8 people on this beach. What do you mean?
Like, maybe babies need food and we can't feed the baby, and maybe the baby died because of that. But no, it's because the baby had no attention for 5 minutes and the baby dies, and it makes
Do you think they originally wrote it that way and wanted it to happen that way, or do you think that they were just like, we don't know how to age this baby? Or, like, we don't know how to get the right actors for this baby, or... I mean,
that is a possibility. Like, if you don't know, it's based on a graphic novel, which I have not read, but I looked up a synopsis on it, and apparently, like, the bit from the baby is from the graphic novel. It's called Sandcastle, by the way, is what the story is.
Okay.
And the bit where the kids... They do it and they get pregnant and they have a baby, and then the baby survives until the end. It apparently, if you per the synopsis online. But no, yeah, that's a thing, because the children already have 4 actors that play them throughout the movie, and that would have been 4 or 5 child actors. Yeah. That they would, so instead of having,
because babies change so quickly, it would be like,
and then the mother character gets all upset and tries to climb up the rock and escape, except no one can escape because whenever they try, they pass out. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to climb that rock face.
I was like, I would have made it like an inch. Like, she was a boss.
Yeah, she's like climbing barefoot, and it's all jagged and shit. Like,
I know. She was like kind of ripped too. I was like, okay.
And then the boyfriend freaks out because she falls off and dies.
He's such a good actor, though.
It's true. No, yeah, and Thomasin Mckenzie is really good too, who plays the teenage main daughter. They both came to play ball and were given material that doesn't deserve them.
Yeah, actually, one of my friends said that too.
What is his name?
My friend was like, I think it's Alex Wolff is his name.
Alex Wolff and Eamon Elliott as Trent. Yes. Yeah. Wolff plays the 15-year-old Trent, and Elliott plays Trent as an adult. Yeah. So,
yeah. And he was in Hereditary. Which
he was, and I knew I recognized him. And that's another conversation. Ari Aster movies are a special kind of fucked. They're just, you can't describe them until you've seen them.
I know.
Did you, small tangent, did you see Midsommar?
Oh yeah, I love it.
It's nuts. I
feel like people either love it or hate it. I'm a lover. Yeah.
And then people go watch it, and then they're like, they start complaining. It's like, all right, we tried to warn you.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like, it's a weird one. That's a weird one, but it's a wild ride.
Okay. So anything else you wanted to mention before we kind of move on? I'm gonna scan through and see if there's anything else I wanted to talk about.
No, I think I'm good.
Yeah. So there are other moments in the movie, like when the mother character finds out that she's going deaf. You know, she like, and I love, like, the camera's right up in her face, and it spins around with her. You know, and she points her ear toward the crowd, and she can hear, and then she turns away, and it's like weird and distant, and she turns back. And that's like, it was such a cool way to show that, except that, like, that should be an emotional gut punch that just was not earned at any point.
Yeah. Maybe, I think they did it a little bit with the sight too of the dad, because didn't he lose his sight? By the end?
I wouldn't say that worked for me as well, but yeah, it was it didn't seem to matter.
Yeah,
that much.
I wonder if at that point they were just like, we're gonna die in like 10 minutes. Fuck it, I'll be blind. Like, I don't know if they were just like, meh.
And then there was the scene where they cut out the tumor. Had like the people sticking their fingers in there. Like, that was the one part of the movie where I legitimately was like physically uncomfortable. I'm like, okay, yeah. I'm squirming, and I don't know if it's because this is done really well, because I don't think it is, but I'm just very physically uncomfortable.
I like physically cringed at several parts during the movie. I think one was when she was climbing the rocks. One was definitely the tumor scene, for sure. I was like, oh boy. And the baby scene, I was like, oh no.
Yeah, I mean, and the baby, I think, is the most disappointing, because it could have set up something really harrowing, and it's just over immediately. That's it.
Like, the baby died.
The baby's born. The baby's dead. Everybody's sad about it.
Yeah. I think so. Philip actually pointed this out, and I agree that.
Yeah, please.
The cool thing about the baby scene was kind of like the montage after the baby had just died, and it was like everybody was like somewhere different on the beach, and the camera just like starts to pan around the beach to where everybody is, and they're all having like different conversations and stuff, and you just hear like chaos, and like it's cool to like get the snippets of like what each person was saying. Like Alex Wolff was saying like, I'm never gonna get a divorce, I'm never gonna yell at my my wife, and this and that, like talking to his parents because of how they are with each other or whatever. I thought that was cool. That was cool, like, but once again, that goes along with like a technical choice that was like really well done.
That's fair, and I'm glad you brought up camera, because it reminds me, like, there were some camera's my thing. Camera and lighting for camera are like kind of my professional focus.
Yeah.
And like there are some things, especially early on in the movie, before they even get to the magic beach, or the whatever mineral beach. Like there's a scene. They're in their little bungalow, and the kids want to go to the beach, and the parents are in the other room talking, and it like keeps the camera. It's shooting from outside through the glass at them, and it, the parents are talking over here, and it dollies over, and the kids are talking over here, and it dollies over, and one of the kids joins them, and they talk, and it goes back and forth. I'm like, okay, all right, M. Night, I'm catching up here. This feels right. It was a long take. It was a creative way to get a lot of exposition done very quickly. And that would be a cool way later on to show, maybe they pan off and they show something going on over here, and then they come back, and then the child actor is a different actor or something. Who knows? Mm-hmm. But and it's just, there's nothing like that anywhere else in the movie, and it was just a really cool stylistic choice that they could have used elsewhere. And instead, we get a lot of like partial cut. Like there's a lot of this you probably can't see, but like the viewers can see, like where my face is like partially cut off. Like there's just like only a nose at the edge of the frame for some reason. And it's why and there's random shots of the parents are watching the kids play, and then the kids run off, and then there's just this like really long pensive shot of the mother looking at the doll stuck in the sand, and I'm like, okay, this doll's important. Literally, like this is 20 minutes into the movie, literally the last time they show the doll.
Yeah. Yeah, there were some things, especially in like the first 30 minutes, 30, 45 minutes, that you're like, what is going on? Like, it was kind of like 5 movies in one, because you would have these moments that were like, nothing's happening at all. Nothing is happening. Nothing is important.
I agree.
And then you have this moment of like brilliance with the camera work or the makeup or something.
Yes,
like,
it's just like moments of shining brilliance. And it's, the rest is just a mess.
Like nothing. And then you're like, what? And then you have like a string of like super awful dialogue that makes no sense. Like the things people are saying to each other. First of all, it's not how people talk to each other, but it's also like, what are you even talking about in the first place? And then like another string of like brilliant moments. And then it just like kind of like teetered the entire movie, which I don't mind, because I enjoy horror. Is my favorite genre. Like thriller horror movies are my favorite genre anyway. I've never seen one that I haven't liked, even if it was awful. I could tell you a movie was terrible, but I still enjoyed watching a horror movie.
I mean, and again, I'm not upset I saw this movie. It was a good time to go sit in the theater. I wish the movie was better, but
because it could have been, because you saw like these moments where you're like, yes, like that's M. Night Shyamalan, right? You never know.
Absolutely, you never know what you're gonna get. Like, and the trailers were fantastic. So it's like I said, there's some. He had a slump for quite a long time, but a lot of his recent projects I generally enjoy. So I was cautiously optimistic. This movie had good trailers. Ultimately, it's a mixed bag, mostly leaning on the bad side of things. When it's there are a couple of moments that are really effective, or just like surprisingly disturbing, and then a bunch of bullshit.
So he made like a cameo in this movie, right? He doesn't usually do that.
Oh no, he's in everything. He's in every single one of his movies.
He is?
Yeah.
What? Who is he in?
I don't know that I can name all of the cameos offhand, but no, yeah, he cameos in everything.
Oh, that's cool. This is the first movie I've noticed it in.
I mean, most people probably don't know what he looks like. He's an Indian American. But at the start of this, I don't know if it was at your screening, but I saw it at AMC, and at the beginning it was like, "Hi, I'm M. Night Shyamalan. Thanks for seeing my movie. Thanks for coming back to theaters. This is where movies are meant to be shown." Blah blah blah. And it's. People see that, and then they're like, "Hey, that's the same guy."
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe I actually just never knew what he looked like, and it was finally like, "Hello, I am M. Night Shyamalan," and I was like, "Oh."
No, yeah, and he cameos in most, if not all, of his movies.
You have a cat.
It's all good. If he knocks the camera off, just remember that it's being recorded.
There we go.
All good?
Yeah, we're good.
Cool. Yeah, anyway, thanks for coming on the show. Any closing thoughts? Looks like we're rounding 30 minutes or so.
I would say go see it. It's fun. It's a fun time. Just go into it ready to roll your eyes at.
I mean, there's a lot of eye rolling. There's
a lot.
It's just really the worst thing about it. I couldn't get past the dialogue. There's just like, and it's all expository. Like there's no character in this movie. And like, I'm not familiar with the mother act. It looks like Vicky Krieps plays the mother, but like Gael Garcia Bernal, Rufus Sewell, Thomasin Mckenzie, Abbey Lee, they're all so talented. Like the cast of this movie is nuts, and they're just given nothing to work with. It's awful.
I know, and I was even thinking I've never seen the actor who played mid-sized sedan.
I've never seen him either, but
I was like, he did the best that he could with this dialogue.
Yes.
Like, he was given nothing and he gave it everything. Like he really shined to me. And then actually a lot of them did. I actually thought the performances like were really good. And I can't help but imagine them getting the script and being like, okay, like I'm gonna work with this.
Mid-sized Sedan is played by an actor named Aaron Pierre. This is his first movie.
Nice.
He was on Krypton. Was he on Krypton? We just watched season 1. I don't recall him being there. But and then he's on the Underground Railroad Amazon show. A couple other things. He's done some plays. I don't know. Young actor. He's 27.
Yeah.
Okay. But no, yeah. And again, best rap name. They probably could have thought of.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for coming on the show. I wish I could say I was as high on the movie as you were, but it was a good time. It was a cool way to test the waters to see how the movie theater feels these days. And I went on like a Tuesday. It was me and 3 other people, and we were all like at opposite corners.
Yeah.
But if anyone who likes M. Night Shyamalan movies, for sure, this is worth checking out. If you like horror movies, especially kind of goofy ones, this is it's probably worth a watch. But thanks for watching, everybody. If you if you like this, feel free to hit that subscribe button. And thanks for watching Engine25 Reviews. Have a great night, everybody.